Building self-confidence is something everyone wants, but few know exactly how to create and keep it. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not, or suddenly changing overnight. Real confidence grows from clear steps you take every day, from small actions that add up over time. This journey isn't easy, but it's possible, and it starts with understanding yourself deeply, and learning how to manage your thoughts, face your fears, and keep pushing forward no matter what. In this book, you will find straightforward advice you can apply right now. There are no shortcuts or magic fixes here, just practical, real-world steps that help you build lasting confidence. You'll learn how to take control of your mornings, speak with clarity and strength, and carry yourself with certainty. You'll discover how small victories create unstoppable habits, why celebrating progress matters, and how to replace doubt with solid proof of your growth. This is about more than feeling good for a moment. It's about creating a foundation that supports every part of your life, work, relationships, and your own peace of mind. You will be encouraged to surround yourself with people and energy that lift you up, and to commit to showing up for yourself every day, even when it's hard. If you want to truly empower yourself and master self-confidence, this book will guide you step by step. The tools and ideas here are designed to help you take control of your life, develop discipline, and build the kind of confidence that lasts. This journey will challenge you, but it will also transform you. And it all starts with one choice to begin. Chapter 1. Define exactly who you are, without hesitation. If you want to build real self-confidence, not the temporary kind that fades under pressure, you have to begin with one truth that can't be avoided. You have to define exactly who you are, without hesitation. Not who others think you are, not who you pretend to be when you're afraid, and not who you wish you were when you're trying to impress someone. Who you are, right now. That's where strength begins. Not in the illusions, not in the masks, not in the roles you play. Real confidence is built on clarity. It is built on the courage to face yourself without excuses. When you know who you are, the world loses its power to shake you. People's opinions stop controlling your mood. You stop seeking validation. You stop comparing. You stop apologizing for your existence. But to get there, you have to be willing to sit still with your truth. And that takes strength. It takes honesty. Most people spend their lives trying to be someone else. They imitate, they copy, they try to fit into boxes, and then they wonder why they feel empty, frustrated, and insecure. You don't build confidence by becoming someone else. You build it by becoming more of who you already are. Defining who you are is not a one-time answer. It's a commitment to live in alignment with what matters to you. It's being grounded in your values, aware of your strengths, and honest about your weaknesses without shame. It's not arrogance. It's not loudness. It's quiet inner strength. It's being able to say, I know who I am, and I don't need you to confirm it for me. And you can't fake that. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You earn it by facing your truth every single day. Start simple. What do you stand for? Not what sounds good. Not what you think others want to hear. What do you really stand for? Integrity, discipline, compassion, excellence, freedom. Define it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. And don't just talk about it. Live it. If you value integrity, then stop saying yes to things that make you feel fake. If you value freedom, then stop choosing comfort over growth. If you value strength, then stop running from what challenges you. Confidence is not a mindset you practice in front of a mirror. It's a decision you make in your behavior. It's the way you walk, speak, decide, commit, and show up. Look at your life. Is it a reflection of who you say you are? If not, don't criticize yourself. Don't fall into guilt. Just be honest. Clarity is the first act of courage. Most people avoid themselves. They keep themselves busy so they don't have to ask hard questions. But growth only happens when you're willing to see clearly. Ask yourself, what am I proud of? What makes me feel strong? When do I feel most like myself? When do I feel fake, weak, or small? Who drains me? Who strengthens me? What habits are killing my confidence? What choices would build it? The truth is, you already know who you are. You just haven't trusted it enough to live it. You've buried it under layers of expectations, comparisons, and fears. But it's still there. It's the part of you that feels alive when you're alone and honest. It's the part of you that feels calm when you make decisions from your gut. It's the part of you that doesn't need permission. Your job is to strip everything else away until all that's left is what's real. The more real you become, the more confident you feel. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to remember yourself. You don't need to chase some ideal version of success. You need to come back to who you are and move from there. Self-confidence isn't about being the best. It's about being authentic. The most confident people in the world are not always the most talented, but they are the most self-aligned. They know what matters to them and they live by it. This takes work. It takes reflection. It takes the willingness to sit in silence without distractions and ask the hard questions. What am I doing with my time? Does it reflect who I want to become? Are my relationships honest, supportive, and aligned with my growth? Do I have boundaries? Am I saying yes to things just to avoid rejection? Where am I compromising myself just to be liked? These questions are uncomfortable, but you have to ask them, because every time you ignore them, you lose a piece of yourself, and with it you lose confidence. Every decision you make is either building your identity or weakening it. When you say no to what's wrong for you, your confidence grows. When you speak up instead of staying silent, your confidence grows. When you follow through on your word, your confidence grows. When you keep promises to yourself, your confidence grows. And the opposite is true too. Every time you betray yourself, every time you shrink, avoid, or lie to yourself, your confidence slowly dies. Not because you're weak, but because you're disconnected from who you are. There's nothing more powerful than a person who knows who they are. That person is not perfect. That person is not always loud. That person is not always impressive on the outside. But they are rooted. They move through life with clarity. They know what to say no to. They know what to pursue. They know what matters. And that inner certainty creates peace. It creates energy. It creates power. You don't build this identity in one day. You build it every day. Through small actions, through honest reflection, through clear choices. Confidence is earned, and it starts by defining who you are, with no hesitation, no apology, and no need for approval. You don't wait for life to tell you who you are. You decide, you write it, you live it. And with every action, that decision becomes more real. You might feel lost right now. You might feel like you don't even know where to start. That's okay. Start with the truth. What are you avoiding? What do you secretly want? What are you pretending not to care about? That's your starting point. Get it out of your head. Put it on paper. Look at it. Feel it. Don't run from it. Clarity is not something that shows up by accident. It's something you have to fight for. Stop waiting for confidence to arrive. It doesn't come before action. It comes from action. It comes when you take a step forward even when you're unsure. When you try even when you've failed before. When you stand up even when you're scared. That's how you build the identity of someone who is solid, real, and powerful. It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about being clear enough to keep moving even when you don't. Look around your life. Everything you've accepted has shaped your identity. Some of it is real, some of it isn't. You can change that. You don't have to carry labels that don't fit you anymore. You don't have to keep habits that weaken you. You don't have to keep people in your life who make you feel small. Every day is a chance to define yourself again with more truth, more strength, and more courage. No one is going to hand you your identity. You build it by what you choose to believe, how you choose to act, and what you choose to tolerate. The way you speak about yourself matters. Stop putting yourself down. Stop telling stories that keep you stuck. Speak to yourself like someone you respect. Not with arrogance, but with grounded confidence. Talk to yourself in a way that builds you, not breaks you. That voice becomes your foundation. Self-definition is not just a mindset. It's a discipline. It's the practice of living in integrity with who you are. When you get clear on what you stand for, decision-making becomes easier. You don't have to overthink everything. You know what fits and what doesn't. You know what to walk toward and what to walk away from. That clarity becomes your compass. And the more you follow it, the stronger your confidence becomes. It's not about perfection. It's about honesty. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to stumble. But you can't let that stop you from living in truth. Every time you realign with your values, you take back your power. You take back your direction. And that's what confidence really is, living in alignment with your truth, no matter what's happening around you. You have to stop waiting for someone else to define your worth. You have to stop waiting for the world to approve of you. You don't need a title, a degree, or a certain number of followers to be someone. You already are someone. And the sooner you believe that, the sooner you'll stop shrinking and start rising. Confidence is built the moment you choose to stop hiding, the moment you speak your truth, the moment you act in integrity, the moment you stop pretending. That's when you come alive. That's when people feel your presence. That's when you become unshakable. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are rooted in something real. Define exactly who you are. Do it without apology. Do it without hesitation. Do it without waiting for permission. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs people who are grounded, honest, and brave enough to be themselves completely. You already have everything inside you to become that person. It starts now. It starts with the decision to live fully, honestly, and without compromise. Every day you choose that path, your confidence grows. And eventually, you become unstoppable, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. Chapter 2. Take full control of your thoughts every morning. Your mind is the first battlefield you face each day. Before you step out the door, before you answer a message, before anyone else speaks to you, your thoughts are already setting the tone for everything that follows. What you allow into your mind first thing in the morning isn't a small thing, it's everything. It shapes how you carry yourself, how you respond to stress, how you treat others, and most importantly, how you treat yourself. If your mind isn't focused, your day won't be either. If your thoughts are scattered, anxious, or negative, you will be too. Every morning, before the noise begins, you have a brief moment of complete power. This moment doesn't depend on your circumstances or how you slept. It depends only on your decision to take charge of your thinking. You don't have to wake up overwhelmed. You don't have to start with doubt or fear. You have the ability to decide what kind of mental state you will step into. You don't control every thought that pops up, but you do control which ones you engage, which ones you reject, and which ones you repeat. And those decisions shape the rest of your day. The problem is that most people wake up and immediately hand over their mental focus. They reach for their phones, check social media, read messages, compare their lives to others before their feet even touch the floor. And without realizing it, they've already given away their clarity, their mood, and their power. You can't expect to live with purpose when the first thing you feed your mind is noise. You can't expect to feel strong when you start your day by looking outward instead of inward. Your focus is a resource. If you don't direct it with intention, the world will pull it in every direction. That's why the first few minutes of your morning matter more than most people understand. You have to treat them like sacred ground. This is when you set the tone. This is when you reinforce who you are and what you stand for. This is when you decide what kind of mindset will carry you through the day, not just through the easy parts, but through the challenges, the setbacks, the moments of doubt. When you take ownership of your thoughts early, everything else becomes easier to manage. You're not reacting anymore. You're leading. Start by observing your first thoughts. Don't judge them, just pay attention. Are they scattered? Are they negative? Are they focused on problems? You can't change what you're not aware of. Awareness comes first. From there you take action. You guide your thinking like a muscle. You train it. You don't accept whatever your mind throws at you. You direct it. You shape it. You build strength in it. That's discipline. You don't have to wake up full of motivation. You don't have to feel ready every morning. You just have to be committed to taking control instead of letting your mind wander into weakness. And that starts with clarity. Remind yourself what matters. Remind yourself what you're committed to. Choose one clear thought to build your foundation on. Maybe it's a simple truth. I will not waste this day. Or I will stay grounded in who I am. Or I control my focus, not the world. Whatever it is, speak it. Let it anchor you. You're not just thinking it. You're building a mindset around it. Then take action to reinforce that mindset. This doesn't require hours. It doesn't need to be complicated. What matters is consistency. Read something that sharpens your mind. Write down what you want to embody. Reflect on how you want to move through the day. Get your body moving. Don't sit in bed overthinking. Shift your energy with action. You're building momentum. You're creating the mental environment you want to live in. And that environment will either fuel your confidence or weaken it. This is not about being perfect. It's about being responsible for the direction of your thoughts. Left unchecked, your mind will pull you into every insecurity, every fear, every doubt you've ever collected. But when you step in and lead it, you begin to transform. You start thinking with intention instead of fear. You start choosing thoughts that build strength instead of weakness. And that shift changes how you approach everything: your work, your relationships, your goals, your setbacks. Taking control of your mind every morning is not something you do once and forget. It's a practice. It's a habit. And it becomes easier the more you commit to it. You're training yourself to stop being passive with your thoughts. You're breaking the habit of mental laziness. You're developing a mind that supports your growth instead of sabotaging it. That's not a small thing. That's the foundation of self-mastery. Some mornings will be harder than others. You'll wake up tired. You'll feel discouraged. You'll want to go back to old patterns. But this is where discipline speaks louder than mood. You don't need to feel great to think clearly. You just need to decide that your thoughts don't get to run wild. Not today, not anymore. You're not going to feed the voices that tell you you're not enough. You're not going to start your day believing lies about your worth. You're going to choose thoughts that keep you grounded, focused, and honest with yourself. You have to understand the cost of not doing this. When you don't take control, the world fills the gap. Fear fills the gap. Noise fills the gap. Noise fills the gap. And then you live your day in reaction, reacting to people, to moods, to stress, to distractions. But when you start with mental clarity, you stop reacting. You begin responding. You choose how to act. You choose how to carry yourself. You choose what to prioritize and what to ignore. That's power. Confidence isn't loud thoughts. It's disciplined thoughts. It's the ability to think clearly when things are messy. It's the ability to come back to your focus when your mind wants to drift. It's the mental strength to stay steady even when emotions are strong. And that strength starts to build the moment you decide to lead your mind every morning, not follow it. This isn't about perfection. Some days you'll struggle. Some days your mind will resist. But the more you show up and take responsibility, the stronger your thinking becomes. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to develop clarity even in chaos. And slowly, your mind becomes a tool for building your life instead of breaking it. Every single day, you have a choice. You can wake up and drift through your thoughts, hoping for a good day. Or you can wake up, take control, and build a mindset that's prepared for anything. That choice is where confidence begins. Not in what happens around you, but in how you choose to think through it. Own your mind first thing in the morning, and the rest of the day belongs to you. Chapter 3. Face your fears by doing one hard thing daily. Fear will not disappear on its own. It waits, hides, and grows when left untouched. Avoiding it only strengthens it. The longer you wait, the louder it becomes. The more you ignore it, the more control it takes. It doesn't matter how confident you want to be. Until you begin to act in the face of fear, it owns a part of your life. You can talk about growth, you can dream about confidence, but nothing changes until you decide to do something that scares you. Not once, but every day. You don't need to do everything at once. You only need to face one hard thing, consistently. Doing one hard thing daily is not about punishing yourself. It's not about making life difficult for the sake of it. It's about reminding yourself that discomfort won't break you. It's about training your mind to stop running. It's about replacing hesitation with courage, even in the smallest decisions, because what builds confidence is not comfort. What builds confidence is proof. Proof that you can stand up when something inside you wants to shrink. Proof that fear is not stronger than your will to grow, and that proof is built one action at a time. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment to act. You don't need to fix everything first. The fear you're avoiding is the exact doorway to the growth you're seeking. The conversation you've been putting off, the task you keep delaying, the truth you don't want to face, those are the hard things you must begin with. And every time you do, you teach yourself a new truth. You are capable. You are stronger than your excuses. You are not defined by hesitation. Most people assume courage comes from a special kind of personality. They think brave people are born that way. But the truth is, confidence comes from repetition. It's built through practice. You get better at fear the more you face it. The fear might not go away entirely, but your relationship with it changes. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once triggered anxiety begins to lose its grip. You start to carry yourself with quiet strength, not because the fear is gone, but because you've stopped surrendering to it. Choosing one hard thing daily is a decision to stop waiting for the perfect time. It's a decision to stop letting your emotions decide your future. There is no easy way to build confidence. There is only the honest path of effort. Real growth comes from taking responsibility for your resistance. You begin to ask yourself every morning, what am I avoiding? What do I keep pushing aside? And then you do that thing. Not later, now, not because you feel like it, but because you promised yourself you would. This practice is not about being reckless. It's about being deliberate. You don't need to throw yourself into chaos. You only need to lean into discomfort with intention. You only need to take one step past where your fear tries to hold you. If public speaking makes you anxious, speak up in a small group. If you struggle with setting boundaries, say no once. If you avoid responsibility, take ownership of a small task. The size of the action doesn't matter. The consistency does. You're building a pattern of courage, and courage is built one honest moment at a time. Fear has a voice. It tells you to stay small. It tries to protect you, but ends up holding you back. You cannot argue with it. You must outgrow it. You do that by showing up anyway. You do that by making a new voice louder, the voice of action. Every time you follow through, you give yourself evidence that you can do what's necessary, even when it's uncomfortable. That evidence becomes your confidence. That confidence becomes your identity. You begin to shift from someone who hesitates to someone who moves, from someone who avoids to someone who engages. The shift is not instant, but it is inevitable if you stay committed. Even small acts, when done consistently, create powerful change. When you walk toward your fear, you take away its power. When you choose discomfort over delay, you take your life back. You can't build trust in yourself by avoiding struggle. You build trust by proving that you will show up when it matters. You build trust by taking ownership of your energy. Confidence is not loud. It is quiet self-respect. It is the inner knowing that you will not abandon yourself when things get difficult, and that knowing only comes from action. There will be days when fear feels louder than usual. You will feel tired, uncertain, overwhelmed. That is exactly when this principle becomes most powerful. You don't need to feel brave to act. You only need to be willing. One step, one task, one honest moment of discomfort. That is enough. That is how you break the habit of shrinking. You don't need approval. You don't need reassurance. You need to follow through. You need to show up for yourself when it's hard. That is how you rewrite your story. Not by waiting, not by hoping fear disappears, but by stepping into the fire of it and realizing it can't burn what you're willing to face. Fear is not the enemy. Stagnation is. Avoiding discomfort keeps you stuck in the same patterns. Facing it moves you forward, even slowly, even awkwardly, even imperfectly. Progress is not about speed. It's about direction. And every day you do one hard thing, you change direction. You break the cycle. You become more of who you were meant to be. This is not a quick fix. It's a daily commitment. Some days the action will be big. Other days it will be small. But every day it matters. The point is not to win some external prize. The point is to become someone you respect. Someone who chooses growth over fear. Someone who keeps promises to themselves. Someone who doesn't wait for motivation, but builds it through movement. You won't always feel ready. You won't always know the outcome, but you will always have the power to act. And in action, you will find clarity. In effort, you will find strength. In doing the hard thing, you will discover that your limits were never real. They were just beliefs waiting to be challenged. So start now. Identify the thing you keep avoiding. The call, the truth, the task, the decision. Don't wait for the mood to change. Don't wait for everything to feel safe. Step forward. Face it. Do it. And then do it again tomorrow. That is how fear loses. That is how confidence rises. That is how you build a life worth living. One honest action at a time. Chapter 4. Speak clearly and boldly in every conversation. Most people don't realize how much power they give away by speaking softly, hesitating mid-sentence, or avoiding truth in their conversations. When your words are unclear, people fill in the blanks for you. When your voice is unsure, others assume your ideas lack weight. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be heard, but you do need to speak with certainty. If you don't believe in what you're saying, no one else will. When you speak with clarity and boldness, you do more than express ideas. You show that your presence matters, and that changes everything. The way you speak is a reflection of your inner foundation. If your voice trembles, if your message is foggy, if your statements sound like questions, it's not always about vocabulary or grammar. It's about conviction. People remember how you made them feel more than the words you used. If your tone says you don't value your voice, they'll stop listening. But when your tone carries strength and precision, even simple words leave an impact. Boldness in speech does not mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean dominating conversations or silencing others. It means owning your space and refusing to minimize yourself. It means removing the extra layers of apology that so often cloud your communication. You don't need to start sentences with "I'm sorry," but when you've done nothing wrong. You don't need to ask for permission to speak your truth. Boldness is about being direct, honest, and clear, without guilt. To speak clearly, you must first know what you mean. That requires slowing down. Before you speak, think. What is the point I'm trying to make? What do I want them to understand? Most misunderstandings happen not because people disagree, but because they don't understand each other. If you're vague, if you use filler words to dance around the truth, you leave too much open to confusion. But when you speak with precision, you cut through the noise. Start by eliminating the words that weaken your message. Just, maybe, I think, kind of, sort of. These are habits that dilute confidence. You don't need to say, "I just wanted to ask," when you can say, "I have a question." You don't need to say, "I kind of disagree," when the truth is, "I see this differently." Clean, simple, direct statements carry far more authority than long-winded explanations. Let your words stand on their own. Don't shrink them with nervous qualifiers. You also need to stop hiding behind silence. Many people keep their opinions to themselves, not because they don't have something to say, but because they fear judgment. They worry that their voice might offend someone or sound foolish. But confidence means being willing to say something even when it's not guaranteed to be accepted. If your truth is always filtered to please everyone, then you're not speaking, you're performing. And that performance slowly kills your self-respect. Real growth happens when you say what needs to be said, even if your voice shakes. Not with anger, but with honesty. You can disagree without being disrespectful. You can assert yourself without being cruel. Bold speech comes from inner calm. When you speak with clarity, you show that you've already done the hard work of knowing yourself. You've looked within, sorted your thoughts, and now you're ready to express what matters. Practice speaking slowly and deliberately. Most people rush through their sentences, not because they're in a hurry, but because they're uncomfortable with silence. They fear pauses. But confidence lives in pauses. It lives in the ability to let your words breathe. To speak, then wait. to make eye contact, and let your message land. You don't have to fill every gap with noise. You don't need to explain everything twice. Say it once clearly, and give it space to be heard. Every conversation is an opportunity to strengthen your presence. Whether it's with your partner, your boss, a friend or a stranger, how you speak shapes how people treat you. If you want to be respected, you must stop softening your voice. That doesn't mean being forceful. It means being sure of what you stand for, sure of what you mean, sure of the value your words carry. One way to develop clarity in speech is to speak more often. Don't wait for the perfect words. Speak when you have something real to say. Raise your hand. Join the discussion. Say the thing that others are afraid to say. You might stumble at first. That's okay. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up. Every time you speak, you train your mind to trust your voice. You teach yourself that you don't need approval to have a perspective. Confidence in conversation also comes from listening. Pay attention when others speak. Listen not just to respond, but to understand. When you truly hear others, you become better at choosing your words. Your responses become thoughtful instead of reactive. And when it's your turn to speak, you'll speak from clarity, not emotion. Don't waste words. Don't speak just to fill the room. Speak because what you say matters. And when you speak, finish your sentences. Don't trail off. Don't end strong thoughts with, "You know what I mean." Say what you mean. Fully. Let your words complete the thought. Let your presence complete the message. Most of your strength in communication will come from your posture. Stand up straight. Keep your head level. Look people in the eye. The body carries a message before the mouth does. If you look like you're unsure, it won't matter what you say. If you look grounded, people will feel your message before they even process your words. Practice bold speech in small ways. Correct someone gently when they mispronounce your name. Speak up when you see something that doesn't sit right with your values. Share your opinion in a meeting. Ask for what you need clearly, not in hints. Set boundaries with people who constantly interrupt you. And most importantly, talk to yourself with the same clarity. Remove the passive language from your inner voice. Say, "I will do this," not "I hope I can." Speak to yourself with the same boldness you want the world to hear. You don't need a deep voice or a large vocabulary. You need to stop hiding your truth. You need to stop second-guessing your value. The more you speak clearly and boldly, the less you need to explain. The more you own your words, the more people will listen. And the more people listen, the more opportunities you'll find to grow, connect and lead. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more truth. And that truth starts with you. Speak it clearly, confidently, and without apology. Every conversation is a mirror of how you see yourself. Speak as someone who respects their own voice. Speak as someone who knows they belong. Speak as someone who's done hiding. Because the longer you hesitate, the more power you give away. But the moment you start owning your voice, your whole life begins to change. Chapter 5. Stand tall and walk with absolute inner certainty. Your posture tells the world how you feel about yourself before you say a single word. The way you carry yourself isn't just a matter of physical stance, it's a reflection of your inner belief. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't require fanfare or attention. True confidence is quiet strength. It shows in your stride, your composure, and the certainty in your steps. If your shoulders are hunched, your eyes are downcast, your presence shrinks. But when you stand upright, with calm steadiness, you create a silent statement. I belong. I am here with purpose. I don't need validation to take up space. People often underestimate how much the body affects the mind. If you want to build certainty from within, you have to start with how you move through the world. Your walk is not just transportation, it's a message. Every step should say that you trust yourself, that you know what you're doing, even when things are uncertain. You don't need to have all the answers to walk like someone who's grounded. What you need is the decision to stop apologizing for existing. Every time you lower your head when passing someone, every time you shuffle past a challenge with hesitation, you reinforce a belief that you're not enough. And beliefs like that are built over time, through repetition, but so are stronger beliefs. You can train yourself to walk with conviction, even if you don't feel it yet. Because confidence is not a feeling, it's a choice. And every day, your body either confirms your worth or denies it. Start by being intentional about your presence. When you enter a room, don't slip in unnoticed. Don't hug the walls or look for a place to disappear. Walk in with your spine tall, your chin level, and your breath steady. Don't rush. There's no need to hurry through life like you're an inconvenience. Your existence is not a mistake. You deserve to move through the world with purpose, not permission. There is power in stillness. People who are always fidgeting, adjusting, or looking for distraction show their nervous energy without realizing it. But those who are still, who can sit in silence or walk slowly without needing to prove themselves, send a different signal. Stillness is not weakness. It is control. It is discipline. When your movements are deliberate, your confidence speaks before you do. This isn't about trying to impress anyone. It's about respecting yourself enough to move with dignity. There is nothing more powerful than someone who knows they don't have to rush to prove their value. Someone who isn't flustered when things don't go their way. Someone who keeps their head high, even in discomfort. That's real strength. That's what it means to walk with inner certainty. There are people who walk with fear, and there are people who walk with faith. Not faith in outcomes, but faith in themselves. Faith that no matter what happens, they'll face it fully. You don't have to know how every situation will unfold. You just have to know that you'll meet it with courage. When you know that, your posture changes. Your energy settles. You don't collapse under pressure. You don't chase approval. You stay centered. Inner certainty doesn't come from external achievement. It comes from consistency with yourself. When you keep your word, when you show up even when it's hard, when you hold yourself to your own standards regardless of who's watching, you begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you don't need to be the loudest or the flashiest. You walk into every moment with quiet command. Think about how you carry yourself when no one's watching. That's the truest test of confidence. If you only stand tall in public but crumble in private, you're still performing. But when you can walk tall through your own doubt, when you can hold your ground in solitude, you've built something deeper than image. You've built character. You've earned your certainty. And no one can take that from you. Every challenge you face is a chance to reinforce this posture. Not just physically, but mentally. When life tests you, don't shrink. Don't slump into defeat. Straighten your back. Breathe deeper. Move forward. Even when everything feels uncertain, act like someone who trusts their resilience, because you are that person. You've survived more than you give yourself credit for. And you're still here, which means you still have a choice to carry yourself like a victim or to carry yourself like someone who's growing through the fire. The key is repetition. You won't build unshakable presence in one day. But if you choose to stand tall every morning, to walk with purpose through discomfort, to show up when it's easier to quit, you create momentum. The more you move like someone who believes in themselves, the more that belief becomes real. Your posture becomes your proof. Not to others, but to yourself. And remember, this isn't about being rigid or emotionless. Confidence doesn't mean hiding your struggles, it means owning them. Walking with certainty doesn't mean you don't feel fear, it means you don't let fear dictate your movements. It means you choose strength, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because those are the moments that define you. Every room you walk into is a chance to reinforce your identity. Not through performance, but through presence. Let people feel your stability. Not your arrogance. Not your desperation, but your grounded strength. When you stand tall, you make it easier for others to do the same. When you carry yourself with dignity, you raise the standard for everyone around you. Confidence is contagious, but so is insecurity. When you slouch, when you speak with doubt, when you move with hesitation, you unconsciously invite the same energy back. But when you lead with calm power, when your body mirrors your discipline, you create a silent invitation for others to rise with you. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel ready. But you can always choose to stand tall. You can always choose to move forward with integrity. That choice, made daily, creates the kind of certainty that doesn't fade when life gets hard. It stays with you, because it's built in you. So start now. Stand like someone who values their life. Walk like someone who knows their worth. Speak like someone who's learned from their past and isn't afraid of their future. You don't need anyone's permission to move with power. You just need to decide. And once you do, everything about you begins to align, your thoughts, your posture, your actions. That's how confidence is built. That's how it becomes who you are. Chapter 6. Build unstoppable habits through daily small victories. Success doesn't arrive in a grand moment. It is built in quiet hours, in the ordinary actions that seem too small to matter. But those are the moments that shape everything. Every habit you practice is a brick laid in the foundation of your future. Every day you are either building the life you want or reinforcing the one you're trying to outgrow. What separates people who rise from those who remain stuck is the decision to win the day, not the year, not the decade, just the day in front of them. When people think about transformation, they often wait for motivation. They want a burst of energy to move them, a surge of excitement to kickstart progress. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes with emotion. Discipline, on the other hand, is built from the ground up, one choice at a time. And it begins with something simple, doing one small thing well today. A small win is more powerful than a big goal. Goals are useful, but without consistent action, they become wishes. A small win gives you something immediate and real. It's measurable. It builds momentum. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to become disciplined. You just need to show yourself that you can follow through on one commitment, and then do it again tomorrow. Every time you complete something you said you'd do, no matter how minor it seems, you prove that your word matters. That proof becomes confidence. That confidence becomes momentum. And momentum builds habits that are no longer forced. They become part of your identity. You no longer need to push yourself into action. You become the kind of person who acts because it's who you are. Most people overlook the power of small victories because they're not dramatic. Waking up when you said you would, finishing a workout, eating with intention, completing a task without procrastinating, these don't feel like breakthroughs, but compound them over days, weeks and months, and you become someone unstoppable. Not because you're better than others, but because you didn't stop. While others waited for the right time, you kept showing up. Consistency isn't built in intensity, it's built in quiet persistence. You don't need to do extraordinary things every day. You need to do ordinary things with extraordinary discipline. You need to keep promises to yourself, even when no one else sees, because those are the promises that count the most. Those are the promises that reshape your self-respect. The mind is always watching. Every time you do what you said you'd do, it records that evidence. Every time you choose distraction or delay, it records that too. Confidence grows from accumulated wins. Doubt grows from accumulated avoidance. If you want to feel capable, stack up moments where you followed through. Make your daily habits too small to fail. Don't try to conquer your entire routine in a single day. That's how people burn out. Instead, anchor your day to 1 or 2 key actions. Do them without exception. Don't make them optional. When you eliminate the decision, you eliminate resistance. It's not about willpower, it's about making the action automatic. For example, if you want to read more, don't aim for chapters, aim for 5 pages. If you want to build strength, don't chase the hardest workout, start with 10 minutes. If you want to eat better, don't overhaul your whole diet, just make one meal cleaner. Small wins create positive feedback. Positive feedback creates pride, and pride makes you want to keep going. Habits are not about how hard you can push yourself once, they're about how steadily you can keep moving forward. Think of them as a form of self-respect. Every habit you repeat is a way of saying, I matter enough to keep improving. That mindset shifts everything. Suddenly, your actions aren't just tasks, they're statements about who you're becoming. The mistake people often make is thinking they need to feel ready every time they act. You don't, you just need to act. You can feel tired, doubtful, distracted, and still follow through. That's where the real transformation happens, not when you're inspired, but when you're indifferent or even discouraged, and you still choose discipline over delay. Progress is invisible at first. You might go weeks without seeing external results, but internally, something powerful is happening. You're changing. Your response to stress changes. Your tolerance for discomfort grows. Your mind becomes clearer. Your decisions get sharper. And then, without even realizing it, you're handling things that used to defeat you. One of the most overlooked benefits of small daily victories is peace of mind. When you live in alignment with your goals, anxiety fades. You no longer carry the weight of unfulfilled intentions. You no longer have to explain to yourself why you didn't show up. You rest easier because you know you've earned your rest. Nothing is more energizing than a clear conscience and consistent effort. You don't need to prove anything to anyone else. You're not building these habits to impress the world. You're doing it to build trust with yourself. That trust becomes the foundation for everything else. Relationships, career, health, growth. Without it, you're always second-guessing. With it, you become decisive, steady, and calm in the face of challenge. Every small win is a seed. Most people plant once and quit. But if you water that seed daily, it becomes something powerful. You don't need to chase motivation. You need to chase rhythm. A rhythm that makes you dependable, grounded, and ready for more. Some days will be harder than others. Some days you'll be tired, frustrated, tempted to give up. That's part of the process. That's where character is built. Push through those days. Even if it's just doing the bare minimum of your habit, don't skip, because skipping once makes it easier to skip again. But showing up, even poorly, reinforces discipline. When you build your life on small victories, you're never too far from a win. That keeps your energy up. That keeps your self-respect intact. And that makes it easier to take on bigger challenges. Start small, Stay consistent and raise the standard slowly. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to be perfect. Just aim to be present. Be intentional. Be accountable. There is no finish line. You don't wake up one day with perfect habits and endless confidence. You earn it daily. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't depend on mood, luck, or talent. It depends only on your decision to do the next right thing. Every time you make your bed, choose water over soda, read instead of scrolling, or speak calmly when angry, you win. You reinforce who you're becoming. Over time, those wins stack into a life that feels steady and strong. A life that doesn't need to be rebuilt every time the storm comes. Because it's already rooted. Because you've already proven you can handle hard things by mastering the simple ones. The way forward is not complicated. Show up. Do one thing with care. Finish it. Repeat. Build a rhythm that can carry you through low days. Don't wait for the high ones. Consistency doesn't need motivation. It needs intention. It needs presence. It needs a clear decision that your life is worth the effort. And it is. Chapter 7. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small today. Progress isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with applause. More often, it arrives quietly, disguised in the smallest shifts, in how you think, how you respond, how you carry yourself. The world may not notice, but you must, because if you wait for someone else to validate your effort, you'll always be chasing recognition. The only approval you need is your own, and that begins with honoring your own growth. No matter how subtle it seems today, most people are trained to chase big milestones. They wait for major results before they allow themselves to feel proud. But the truth is, progress lives in the spaces between goals. It shows up in the things you used to avoid, but now face. It shows up in the moments where you once gave up, but now stay committed. It shows up when you stop doubting every move you make. That shift deserves to be acknowledged, because when you notice your own growth, you feed your drive to keep going. There is nothing insignificant about making it through a hard day without quitting. There is strength in getting up when you don't feel like it, even if you're moving slowly. There is value in taking a small step forward, even if you think you should be further by now. This is your life, not a race, not a performance, but a personal path that unfolds one decision at a time. The sooner you learn to appreciate each moment of effort, the stronger you become from within. When you celebrate your small wins, you teach your brain that effort matters. You reinforce the belief that you're making progress. That belief is everything. Without it, you lose energy. Without it, you second guess. But when you notice your growth, even in the tiniest ways, you create momentum. You turn your attention away from what's missing and toward what's working. And that shift changes everything. You may not have reached the top of the mountain, but you've taken steps. Maybe you finally said no to something that drains you. Maybe you started your day with intention instead of distraction. Maybe you spoke up instead of staying quiet. These are not small things. These are signals that you're evolving. And evolution is not linear. It's not measured only in outcomes. It's measured in courage, in effort, in persistence. The mistake people make is thinking celebration requires fanfare. It doesn't. It requires awareness. It's a private moment of acknowledgement. A quiet yes to yourself. You don't need to announce it. You just need to feel it. Take time to reflect on what you've done differently today. Take a breath and let that effort land. That's how you build pride. That's how you build internal strength that no one can take away. You might think it's too early to celebrate, that you haven't done enough, that there's more work to do. And yes, there always will be. But if you don't pause to recognize the distance you've already covered, you rob yourself of the fuel you need to keep moving. Your brain needs those signals of progress. Your heart needs those reminders that it's all worth it. Without them, the journey starts to feel empty. Celebration is not about being done. It's about being present. It's about acknowledging effort without conditions. It's not saying I've arrived. It's saying I'm on my way, and I'm proud of how far I've come. That perspective gives you emotional stamina, because the real growth happens when no one is watching. And it's in those private victories that your foundation gets stronger. Some days your progress might look like resisting an old habit. Other days, it might look like getting out of bed when your mind told you to stay still. Sometimes it's choosing to speak kindly to yourself when you would have criticized. These moments matter. These shifts reshape your identity. And when you notice them, you start believing you can change anything, because you're seeing the proof unfold in real time. Don't wait for a perfect version of yourself to show up before you feel proud. Perfection is an illusion. What's real is effort. What's real is discipline. What's real is staying committed even when you feel behind. That's strength. And that strength is worth honoring every single day. There's power in writing down your progress, not to impress anyone, just to remind yourself, because your mind forgets quickly. It forgets how far you've come. It forgets the discomfort you've already survived. Journaling or even just a mental recap at the end of the day can re-anchor you in reality. And the reality is, you're building something valuable. You may not see the full picture yet, but you're adding strokes to the canvas. Each choice, each action, each lesson, these become the foundation for breakthroughs you haven't even imagined yet. And when they come, it won't be because of a single leap. It'll be because of everything you did when no one was watching. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it last. If you only allow yourself to feel proud once you've achieved everything, you'll spend most of your life in emotional debt. But if you start now, if you start with today, you'll carry a sense of gratitude and pride that strengthens you through the harder days. Because you won't be waiting for a finish line to feel worthy. You'll already know that you are. Celebration isn't self-indulgent. It's self-respect. It's the act of saying, I see my own effort. I see my own courage. I see what others may not. That awareness isn't just healthy, it's necessary. Because the path of growth is long, and sometimes lonely. If you don't learn to appreciate your own effort, you'll always depend on external validation to keep going. But when you become your own source of encouragement, nothing can stop you. So today, pause for a moment. Look at your choices. Look at how you handled something that used to throw you off. Look at the patience you showed, the honesty you gave, the presence you offered. Look at how you chose growth over comfort. Let that matter. Let that mean something, because it does. You are not the same person you were a year ago. You are not even the same person you were last month. Maybe the world hasn't noticed yet, but you have. And that's what counts, because the more you notice, the more you reinforce. And the more you reinforce, the more natural it becomes to keep going. Progress, in its truest form, becomes your lifestyle, not just your goal. Whatever you did today to move forward, however small, hold it up in your mind and let yourself feel proud. That pride becomes fuel. That fuel becomes consistency. And that consistency becomes the life you've been working toward. One small victory at a time. Chapter 8. Replace self-doubt with strong evidence of growth. Every time you question your ability, you grant power to a voice that thrives on uncertainty. Doubt is not a harmless thought. It is a weight that drags you away from your potential. You will not silence that voice by telling yourself you're confident. You will silence it by showing yourself the proof. Evidence of growth is the antidote to self-doubt. It is a record, a mirror, and a shield. When you accumulate clear markers of progress, you build a foundation that doubt cannot erode. Start by gathering tangible records of what you've achieved. Track every commitment you've kept, every task you've completed, and every challenge you've faced. It doesn't need to be grand accomplishments. A note that you woke early on days you wanted to stay in bed is as valid as closing a major deal. Document your small wins in a journal or a simple spreadsheet. Each entry is a piece of evidence that shifts your identity from someone who hesitates to someone who follows through. Review that record every week. Create a habit of looking back at what you wrote, not to criticize what you haven't done, but to reinforce what you have. If you notice a pattern of avoided tasks, use that as a prompt to plan a specific action the next day. If you notice consistent completion of habits, recognize that you are building momentum. Over time, this practice rewires your self-image. You begin to see yourself not through the blurred lens of fear, but through the clear metrics of effort and result. When doubt arises, pause and refer to your evidence. Ask yourself which is stronger, the old narrative that you lack what it takes, or the growing list of times when you proved yourself wrong. Once you establish this pause, you claim the space to choose confidence. Instead of reacting to an anxious thought, you respond with data. In that moment, your doubts collide with undeniable proof. That collision weakens them. Metrics don't have to be numerical. They can be concrete experiences. Remember the time you spoke up in a meeting when you feared judgment. Recall how you managed a difficult conversation without backing down. Think of the last occasion you resisted an impulse that didn't serve you. Those mental snapshots count as evidence. Keep them accessible, whether in a note on your phone or a stack of index cards on your desk. Whenever doubt strikes, revisit these moments to remind yourself that you have faced adversity and emerged stronger. Evidence grows fastest when you set clear criteria for success. Define specific standards for your progress. If your goal is to improve communication, decide you will initiate at least one honest conversation each day. If you aim to strengthen focus, commit to a minimum of 20 uninterrupted minutes of work. When you meet those criteria, record it without judgment. Over time, you'll develop a log that speaks louder than any negative thought ever could. In the moments when self-doubt feels overwhelming, engage in a quick reality check. List 3 concrete actions you have taken in the past week to move toward your goals. Not what you planned or hoped to do, but what you actually did. Speak those actions out loud. Affirm them as irrefutable. This exercise shifts your mind from hypothetical fears to factual achievements. It reminds you that your progress is not imaginary, it's real and measurable. It's vital to keep your evidence visible. Don't let your record collect digital dust. Display a summary in a place you see often, a sticky note on your mirror, a chart on your wall, a pinned message in your workspace. Make it impossible to ignore the proof of your commitment. Each glance serves as a reminder that you are not defined by a fleeting emotion, but by steady, deliberate action. Self-doubt often masks itself as perfectionism or critical analysis. Beware of using evidence gathering as an excuse to overanalyze every detail or to delay action until you feel ready. Evidence is meant to build confidence, not to justify inaction. When you find yourself caught in loops of overthinking, refer to your criteria for progress. Ask what small step you can take now to generate more evidence. Then take it immediately. Momentum builds when action follows intention. Another way to fortify your conviction is to revisit past failures and reframe them as learning opportunities. Write down situations that didn't go as planned and identify at least one lesson from each. Frame those lessons as evidence of your evolving strategy. By doing so, you transform past setbacks into data points that guide future success. This practice prevents doubt from festering in the shadows of unresolved mistakes. Seek external confirmation when it aligns with your growth, but don't depend on it. Feedback from mentors or peers can validate your progress and highlight areas for improvement. Embrace constructive feedback as additional evidence of your development, not as a verdict on your worth. Balance external input with your internal records. When outside opinions conflict with your documented progress, weigh them carefully against your evidence before adjusting your self-assessment. Make celebrating documented victories a ritual. Each time you log a milestone, take a moment to acknowledge it fully. You might pause, smile, or say a brief affirmation to yourself. That ritual grounds your brain in the truth of your achievements, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with confidence. Over time, your mind learns to seek out evidence automatically and to reward itself with a burst of positive energy when it finds it. As evidence of growth accumulates, your inner narrative changes. You start speaking to yourself, not as a doubter, but as a witness to your own evolution. The phrase, "I'm not good enough," loses relevance when you have a portfolio of achievements that contradict it. Thoughts become less threatening when you know how to counter them with proof. Doubt may still arise, but its power diminishes every time you meet it with clear evidence. Finally, remember that evidence is neither static nor finite. It is a living record that grows with you. Commit to updating it continuously, even after you reach major goals. Your capacity for growth is boundless. Each day presents new opportunities to strengthen your conviction. As you replace self-doubt with evidence, you cultivate a mindset of curiosity and resilience. In that mindset, doubt becomes a prompt for gathering more data, not a reason to give up. Replace the habit of doubting with the habit of documenting. Replace vague worries with concrete proof. Over time, the evidence you collect will outweigh every shred of uncertainty. You will walk through life assured by the undeniable record of your own growth. That assurance is not borrowed or temporary. It is built on your own unwavering efforts, and it becomes the unwavering certainty you carry forward. Chapter 9. Surround yourself only with energy that builds you. The people and environments you choose to keep close shape your mindset more than you realize. Energy isn't just a vague feeling, it's the real force that influences how you think, how you feel, and ultimately who you become. Surrounding yourself with energy that builds you means being intentional about the influences you allow into your life. It means selecting sources of strength, positivity, and motivation rather than exhaustion, doubt, or negativity. This choice is one of the most powerful acts of self-confidence you can make. Start by evaluating where your energy goes daily. Notice the people you spend time with, the media you consume, and the places you frequent. Each interaction and exposure either fuels your confidence or drains it. Honest reflection reveals which relationships and environments uplift you and which ones leave you feeling depleted. This step requires courage because it might mean distancing yourself from familiar but toxic patterns. Growth demands that you prioritize your well-being over comfort or obligation. The company you keep deeply influences your belief system. People who support your goals and affirm your worth become a mirror, reflecting your potential. When you surround yourself with such individuals, their confidence in you becomes contagious. Their encouragement is not empty flattery. It is a reflection of your genuine qualities and progress. By contrast, people who constantly criticize, undermine, or drain your enthusiasm create a noise that makes it harder to hear your own inner voice. Reducing exposure to such energy allows your confidence to grow clearer and louder. It's essential to recognize that energy isn't just about words, it's about how others behave around you. Notice the subtle ways people make you feel. Do you feel energized after a conversation or worn out? Do their actions support their words? Authenticity in relationships builds a foundation of trust that nurtures your self-belief. When someone consistently shows respect and kindness, that consistency builds your sense of security. Confidence thrives on this security. Create boundaries that protect your energy. Boundaries are not walls to shut others out, but gates you control. Decide when and how you engage with people or situations that historically drain you. You might limit time spent with negative acquaintances or decline invitations that don't align with your growth. Setting boundaries is a form of respect for yourself and your goals. It signals that you value your progress and are unwilling to compromise it for temporary comfort. Seek out environments that inspire you. Physical spaces influence mental states. Places that are clean, organized, and filled with reminders of your goals support clarity and focus. If your surroundings are cluttered or chaotic, they create noise that distracts and diminishes your confidence. Design your space to encourage productivity and calm. This can be as simple as having a dedicated corner for reflection or a daily routine that includes a walk in nature. Intentional environments act as anchors for a confident mindset. Invest in communities that share your vision. Surrounding yourself with people on similar paths creates a powerful synergy. These communities offer accountability, shared wisdom, and emotional support. They normalize challenges and celebrate milestones. When you engage with such groups, you see that setbacks are part of growth and that success is achievable. Being part of a supportive community reinforces your belief in your ability to succeed. Monitor the media and content you consume. The stories, news, and social feeds you follow shape your perspective more than you might suspect. Constant exposure to negativity, fear, or unrealistic standards feeds doubt and insecurity. Choose media that educates, motivates, and uplifts. Replace endless scrolling with reading a book that empowers or listening to a podcast that shares practical insights. Curate your intake of information as carefully as you curate your social circle. Practice gratitude for the positive influences in your life. Take moments to acknowledge people and environments that boost your spirit. Express appreciation openly when possible. Gratitude strengthens connections and encourages continued positive interactions. It also shifts your focus toward what builds you rather than what drains you. This mental shift is a quiet but powerful act of self-empowerment. Be mindful of your own energy contribution to others. Confidence is contagious, and the energy you emit influences the circle around you. When you bring positivity, encouragement, and authenticity, you attract similar energy back. This creates a cycle of mutual reinforcement that raises everyone's confidence. Conversely, if you find yourself feeling drained after interactions, assess how your energy dynamics work. Strengthening your boundaries and communication skills can improve these exchanges. Practice discernment in new relationships. Not every connection deserves your time and energy. Observe how new people affect your mood and mindset before committing fully. Early signs of toxic influence can be subtle, like persistent negativity or disrespect for your boundaries. Trust your instincts. The ability to discern healthy from harmful energy is a skill that protects your confidence and well-being. Recognize that distancing yourself from negative energy is not selfish. It is necessary self-care. People who drain you often do so unintentionally or because of their own struggles. Protecting your energy allows you to be present and helpful when you can, but without sacrificing your own growth. Self-confidence grows when you prioritize your needs responsibly. Reflect regularly on your energy circle. Life changes, and so do people and circumstances. Periodic check-ins with yourself help maintain a supportive environment. Ask, are these relationships still serving my confidence? Is my environment still conducive to growth? Adjust as needed with honesty and compassion. Staying vigilant keeps you on a steady path of empowerment. Remember that building a support system takes time and effort. Invest in meaningful relationships through listening, shared experiences, and mutual respect. Be willing to step out of isolation and seek connections that challenge and inspire you. Confidence expands in spaces where you feel valued and understood. Ultimately, surrounding yourself with energy that builds you is an ongoing commitment. It is a daily choice to protect your inner world. When you honor that commitment, you create fertile ground for confidence to flourish. You become resilient against doubt, motivated in challenges, and aligned with your true self. The energy you absorb becomes the energy you live by. Choose it wisely and consistently. Chapter 10. Commit to lifelong confidence by showing up daily. Confidence is not a destination reached once and forgotten. It is a lifelong commitment, a steady path walked every day with deliberate effort and intention. The foundation of lasting self-assurance is the consistent act of showing up for yourself, for your goals, and for the process of growth. Without this daily dedication, confidence can slip away as quickly as it appeared. To master the art of self-confidence is to understand that it thrives in the rhythm of persistent presence. Each day presents an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to yourself. This is not about grand gestures or overwhelming changes all at once. Instead, it is about the small, consistent steps taken with resolve. Whether it is facing a challenging conversation, practicing a skill, or simply maintaining a positive mindset, the act of showing up sends a clear message to your mind. You are worthy of investment. Over time, these daily efforts accumulate, creating a powerful momentum that fuels deeper confidence. Consistency cultivates trust in your own abilities and resilience. When you show up repeatedly, even in the face of discomfort or uncertainty, you build an internal track record of reliability. This personal reliability becomes a source of strength. It proves to you that no matter the obstacles, you can meet the moment. Confidence does not arise from flawless success, but from the courage to keep going despite setbacks. Every day you choose to show up reinforces that truth. Committing to this daily presence requires discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results. It is easy to feel motivated once or twice, but sustaining that motivation is where many falter. Discipline means choosing action over hesitation, even when the enthusiasm wanes. This might mean rising early to prepare mentally, dedicating time to refine skills, or simply embracing the tasks that build your self-respect. The simple act of showing up, repeatedly and without excuse, builds character that underpins confidence. The mindset that fuels lifelong confidence recognizes the inevitability of challenges and failure. Instead of fearing these, it welcomes them as essential teachers. When you show up every day, you expose yourself to learning and growth. Failures are no longer reflections of inadequacy, but stepping stones toward mastery. This perspective shifts your relationship with risk and discomfort, allowing confidence to deepen and mature. A key aspect of this commitment is presence. Showing up daily means being fully engaged in the moment. It requires mindfulness and intentionality, being aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions without distraction or avoidance. When you bring full attention to what you do, you sharpen your focus and increase the quality of your efforts. Presence also strengthens your connection to your values and purpose, which anchors confidence in authenticity rather than external validation. Accountability plays a vital role in maintaining this commitment. Accountability can come from within, through self-reflection and honest assessment, or from external sources like mentors, peers, or support groups. Sharing your goals and progress with others creates a network of encouragement and challenge. This network helps prevent complacency and keeps you aligned with your commitment to growth. Knowing that others recognize your dedication adds a layer of motivation that fuels consistency. Building this habit also means embracing patience. Confidence is rarely the result of overnight transformation. It grows gradually, nurtured by countless small actions. There will be days when progress feels invisible and moments when doubt threatens to overwhelm. Persistence through these times is crucial. Remembering that every day of showing up contributes to your long-term growth keeps you grounded. Patience is not passive waiting, but active endurance in the face of uncertainty. Self-compassion is equally important on this journey. Committing to lifelong confidence does not require perfection. There will be days when you stumble or fall short of your own standards. Treat these moments as opportunities for kindness rather than judgment. Forgiving yourself and recommitting strengthens your resilience. This compassionate approach prevents burnout and keeps your motivation healthy and sustainable. The environment you create supports your commitment. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals and reasons for growth. This can include journals, vision boards, or daily affirmations. Organize your space to minimize distractions and encourage focus. Simple rituals, like a morning routine or a moment of reflection before sleep, can reinforce the habit of showing up. These anchors in your environment become silent partners in your dedication. Recognize that showing up daily is also an act of courage. It means facing uncertainty, vulnerability, and sometimes discomfort. Each time you choose to step into the day with intention, you push beyond fear and doubt. This courage compounds, transforming you from someone who occasionally feels confident into someone who lives confidently. The consistency itself becomes a statement of self-respect and strength. Ultimately, lifelong confidence is a testament to your commitment to yourself. It is a practice that honors your potential and your journey. The decision to show up every day, regardless of circumstances, builds an unshakable foundation. Over time, this foundation supports a life where you are no longer held back by fear or hesitation. Instead, you move forward with clarity, purpose, and certainty. This is the art of self-confidence mastered, not through chance, but through the unwavering choice to be present for your own growth, day after day.